Good people of a great nation, I welcome you to the discussion segment of Development Focus with Jide on ITV. Like I told you earlier that on top of the hour of 8, we will be starting our discussion segment, and I have with me already in the studio, seated splendidly, a very known voice, a juggernaut in the civil society space. And that's my brother and friend, Olushola Babalola. Shola, you're welcome on the show.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
Shola is a veteran. He's done work with quite a number of civil society organizations. Now he has his own that he manages. I will leave him to tell us more about himself. People are watching and listening. So there you are.
Okay, thank you very much. The name of our organization is Center for Environmental Sustainability and Development Awareness, popularly known as CESDA. CESDA is established, among other mandates, to raise awareness on the impact of climate change in Nigeria. And at the same time, we focus on the management of natural resources, as well as water, sanitation and hygiene, good hygiene practices in Nigeria. To mention but a few for now. Okay,
that's great. You studied political science. why did you decide to go the way of environment? What's your interest in the environment?
Okay, CESDA is a child of circumstance. CESDA is not actually about me alone, but about like minds, you know, who are friends, you know, who time to time, just like you said, engages, you know, different issues with regards to, you know, governance and development in Nigeria. So, and we find out that environment, climate change is one issue that is actually lagging behind in Nigeria. And we feel that we should be able to raise awareness about impact of climate change in Nigeria, about impact of the effect of bad environment and poor individual practices, you know, that actually observe, you know, in society, in communities. So as a result of that, we were like, okay, and given the fact that climate change is one of the SDG issues, you know, as well. Yes. So we're like, so how do we, you know, popularize, you know, SDG, most especially Goal 13 that speak to the climate change. So how can we help, you know, to make sure that Nigeria attain, you know, the target, you know, as well. So that was what actually spurred us, you know, to actually come together. Just one of the arrowhead in the organization. There are some other colleagues too that are working behind the scene with me to make sure that the overarching goals, you know, of the organizations, you know, are achieved at the end of the day.
Very, very good entry point for you. I mean, the whole essence of university education is universality. You must, I've seen people study languages working in banks. I've seen people who are lawyers, you know, ending up as chefs, you know, or, you know, entertainers and all of that. So you are not boxed in. You know, the fact that you studied, many will ask me whether I studied mass communication. But here I found myself in the media space, you know, writing column and hosting a TV show, doing analysis all over. So that is what university education does to you, if you know your onions, if you know what you are doing. Now, Shola, walk us through. What is climate change? People have been hearing this issue of climate change all over. What exactly do we mean? We talk of climate change, ozone layer depletion, you know, issue that has to do with quite a number of things that even international communities have had to come together, banning some use of some gases, gas emission, or gas flaring and all of that. Why climate change?
Okay, so thank you very much for asking that question. So I will try as much as possible to not be so technical about it.
Exactly. I don't want
so that everybody can have a perfect understanding of what climate change is. Like I was telling somebody a couple of months back, that as a young boy, the kind of climate or weather condition that we have in Nigeria then compared to today, it's very, different in terms of rainfall, in terms of the temperature, of the country, irrespective of the region that we are talking about, coupled with the fact that day in, day out, globally, we are tuning into technology. So we rely mostly on technology to do some of the things, that we are doing nowadays, which are part of the contributing factor, to climate change. Like you rightly said, I think you have done part of the definition. Of course, climate change is about increase in temperature, environmental temperature. Climate change is about unpredictable pattern of rainfall in the society. Climate change is about depletion of ozone layer. Climate change is about increase in the volume of gases, just like you said, like carbon dioxide, like methane, like nitrogen oxide, in the society, which are injurious, to the health of the people as well. So, in a common balance, climate change is about deviating from what we know it to be, prior to now, to a new unpredictable level.
We used to have they said rainy season, dry season, harmattan season, but it's all interwoven now. There is even rain, every rainfall in December, which is supposed to be the harmattan or dry season. So the climate has so changed that it has become so unpredictable. And people will tell you, I don't know, you are the expert here, but sometimes they will say deforestation and also industrialization has contributed to climate change. Is that true?
That's very correct.
How?
Because the green zones, the plants are part of the ecosystem, and we depend on each other. As human beings, we depend on plants, to survive.
That's true.
Because we all know the process of photosynthesis. How
not all of us, not everybody did that.
So let me just quickly explain this. How human beings rely on what is it called, on plants to get oxygen. How plants rely on sunlight to get their own energy, and for them to be able to to survive. So if we are depleting one because of advance in technology, because of the fact that we want to make good furnitures, because of the fact that we want to develop our furniture industries, without thinking of how we are going to replace all those things, definitely all those things like deforestation will set in. Because normally when you cut a tree, the smartest thing to do is to plant another one. Immediately in place of another one. I remember growing up, when you visit most houses, both urban and rural, communities, you see them planting flowers around their house.
That's true.
Then you also see manure spots too, because in the morning you are expected to pick, the leaf, that actually come from the flower, to put it in a spot. After some time, we turn to manure, which we equally use to, fertilize our, backyard garden at a particular point in time. But all those things are not there again. Nobody is talking about gardening. Nobody is talking about replacing, trees that were felled in the forest. And at the same time, government is not doing much, because yes, there are policies, there are laws in place, but all these laws are not they are not being implemented. They are not effective. It's as good as those laws are not there. So until we begin to talk about how we can actually bring about compliance, for people, we have to really regulate.
So we deplete the environment, we cut down, we fell trees without planting another, and each tree takes about 5-10 years to go to maturity. So if you don't plant another one, the ozone layer will now be, exposed to only mere ground, or is it soil, and then it will take all the nutrients in the soil, so to speak. But let's bring in the angle of industrialization. How has industrialization led to ozone layer depletion.
So you remember, like we said, most of the industries emit some of these gases that we talk about.
Carbon monoxide.
Like carbon monoxide,
Yeah.
methane, even nitrogen oxide.
Yeah.
And if, like in Nigeria, in most of industries in Nigeria, they don't have a proper way of, disposing, those
industrial waste.
Yeah, industrial waste. So I will cast your mind back a bit. When we are in Lagos, there is this river in Maryland. They call it Odoalaro. So people thought it was a mystery river because every time it looks as if they spill blood on the river, and some people even went to the extent of going there to fetch the water for spiritual reasons, which we don't know. But after some time, after the river being reported on the media, and people started started finding out of how what is it called, the emergence of blood in the river. So they got to know that some of these what actually colored the water were the waste for some of these industries. You remember Ilupeju, Maryland, industrial hubs. So what they did at that particular point in time is to channel their sewage,
industrial waste into the water channel
the river, without taking a cognizance of other people living in that community, because it's going to have a resultant effect in the health of the people in that community. Like, take for example, people fetching water to drink, to bath. You see, immediately they dispose the industrial waste into the river, it becomes acidic and it becomes injurious. If anybody should use that kind of water to bath, it becomes injurious to them. It can lead to cancer and some other things. So those are the impact of industrialization, all over the world, and Nigeria has not been.
Nigeria is not left behind.
Yeah.
Then what about oil spillage? How has oil spillage also contributed to this climate change and environmental hazard? We are doing Ogoni cleanup. Why the cleanup? Why do we have to clean up and do this industrial waste? What impact has it got on the ecosystem?
Let's start from the livelihood of the people. The people of Niger Delta community, I actually feel for them because as a result of exploration of oil,
since 1956,
since Olobiri, when they discovered Olobiri, oil has actually become a cost to them because of that exploration. Some of them were unable to go ahead with their fishing, which is more or less like their major business in that area. Their farmlands were, witnessed oil spillage, so also the rivers, and the sea as well, which to a very large extent has actually, caused that actually affected their means of livelihood there. So another angle to it is when we look at the health aspect of it, to a very large extent, it has equally caused, some health hazard, to the people in the area. Yes, we have instead on clean up every now and then, try to mop up the oil to make sure that the impact of spillage is reduced, in the Niger Delta community, but we have not done much. So we continue to do it. And again, and that's the more reason why we are raising awareness, even at the community level, having a multi-stakeholder, engagement, with the people in the sector to make sure that they do the needful. You remember before now, what we did is to flare up our gas, indiscriminately.
Gas flaring for over 50 years.
For over 50 years. And you can see the effect of that in those communities. So it's there. So, but now we are gradually moving from there to begin to entrap the gas, which become useful for the household, part of which we are using as some of the cooking gas that
Shola, sorry to cut in. I never will get where. I've tried to wrap my head around why this government and previous governments have allowed our oil explorers to get away with blue murder in the name of gas flaring. We need this gas to power our thermal electricity stations. Geregu, Omotosho, Egbe, all of that. There are thermal stations where we are supposed to use this gas, trap it, use it to produce electricity. We never got around to doing that until during the Obasanjo administration in the early 2000s. Today, cooking gas is even more expensive than kerosene. 12 kg is now selling for 5,400. And we flare this gas as if it's of no use. Now, federal government just declared the decade of gas. This year, was it this year? Yes, this year. Decade of gas. And we've been flaring this gas, this same gas. In fact, what experts said is that we can make money from gas than we can make from oil.
Yeah, that's true.
So, what is the problem? Why did we allow this to who do us? If I want to go local balance, that something that are being used are in that need across the globe that we could even sell to all the countries around us and also use domestically. It is this same gas you use to power your AC, to power your refrigerators. It is this same gas that you use for industrial, industrial use, welding and all of that. And yet we never found very good use for it. What is actually the problem?
I think our problem is that we don't want to change as a people. So until we begin to have a responsible and responsive government who are alive, to the issue, of the people, then we continue to see things like this. All over the world, governments are changing. They are reviewing quite a lot of things, their policies, their plans, try to put a new one in place, try to bring about resilience and adaptive, capacity to be able to do so many things, which is lacking in Nigeria. So for a very long time, we have not thought of that. So I wouldn't know why, considering the economy of gas to that of crude oil. So if we are going to benefit more from the gas, so why would you want to just...
we're planning it.
So
my first, I served in Delta State. My first encounter with worry was very unpleasant. I happened to have gone inside the refinery to see some corps members serving there. And the moment I got to the environment, the air there was very thick. As in, you perceive that there is something you are
like
taking. Yes, exactly like heat wave. It's not natural here that I was used to. And people are living in that kind of environment for decades. And it's as a result of this flaring of this gas, which we could actually have trapped for industrial use, for domestic use, for even commercial to sell. And
this is where our policymaker actually needs to step in. So like I said, not that we don't have the plans, there are policies, there are plans in place. So what we need to do is to rejig some of these plans.
Implement this plan.
And try as much as possible to implement those plans effectively.
We are just burning money. So, as in, for over 50 years, we just light and burn money that we could have made to fix our infrastructural deficit and all of it. And we never get around. Okay, let's come to, we have talked about the industrial pollution, industrial waste, and now all of that impact on the environmental hazard. Let's look at even our domestic lifestyle. How do we contribute to environmental hazard? Let me not be the discussant here. Okay. Let me allow you to run with that.
It has contributed negatively to environmental.
What are those things we do?
So we know there are some this behavioral attitude that we do indiscriminate dispose of waste, open defecation, indiscriminate burning of bushes. You know, there are quite a number of them. So that actually have a resultant effect, you know, on our environment.
In my community, once it's raining, it's like, go and throw your dust, go and throw your dirt inside the sewage.
Yeah. So and that's part of the awareness we are raising, you know, to people, because at the community level you need to engage people that look, they need to know that they are doing themselves more harm, you know, than good. Of course, you want to dispose your
refuse,
or your refuse. You know, there are, you know, points for in Abuja here, for example, there are points, you know, there are bags you can put your waste, and when you put it, then the waste collectors will come and they will dispose it, you know, properly. So, but we are not doing that. Like, take for example, as I was telling you earlier, you know, before we come on here, sometimes last year in November, there was this reportage of cholera, outbreak of cholera.
It's still happening. And it's still as we speak.
It's still very
There's still cholera epidemic even here in FCT.
So at the level of sense, that what we did was to quickly map AMAC, you know, to actually, you know, determine those, you know, places that are prone for open defecation, because we know part of the things that actually cause cholera, you know, has to do with open defecation, indiscriminate disposal of waste. And we were able to map some major areas. You will be shocked that Jabi Park is one of the places notorious for open defecation. Jabi Park and some of the adjoining streets.
Which is in the heart of the town.
Which is in the heart of the town, which is the central park, you know, in Abuja. So, and there are some other places too, like these civil service commission, the corridor, you know, around that civil service commission. So also this Kubwa Guarimpa Expressway, that corridor, some of the bus stops, you know, have become a makeshift, you know, toilets for people, and some other places.
But in other countries, you will have, even at bus stops, you have toilet facilities there. There are mobile toilets now, which people can pay a token to even access. Why are we not doing all of that?
So even in Jabi Park, we were shocked, despite the fact that they have a facility for that, for convenience. They have, though it's not a very large facility, they have about 5 toilets to that, which is not good enough. Inadequate for that big park. So, but we interview people, and part of what people told us, you know, were shocking, because they said even if they use Izar to wash that toilet, they are not ready to use it. Because they believe once you use a public toilet, you get infection. So that's part of the things that actually contribute to that. And the park equally is not illuminated. So people use the cover of the night, you know, to do whatever they want to do. You know, at the end of the day, and you can text to the fact that they park a lot of cars there. Some of them that are
vehicles
so they use the cover of those things too, you know, to do that. But we move into that place. So what we first did is to have a stakeholder engagement, you know, with the
park
executive, the park operators, the executive of the park. Then after that we did a cleanup. So we were like, okay, look, we need to clean up this place now, and everybody contributed.
But how sustainable is that?
So they were there. So, but at the end of the day, we carry out our sensitization. So we brought everybody together, we sensitized them, so we let them see the advantage of having a clean environment. And one smart thing we did with them was to constitute the park marshal, what we call motor park marshals, you know, to keep monitoring, you know, the park, to make sure that people don't defecate, you know, indiscriminately in the premises of the park, you know, as well, and so that they don't dispose their waste indiscriminately as well. We brought in Abuja Environmental Protection Agency. You'll be shocked, because we were shocked. So you have Abuja Environmental Protection Agency has a porta cabin, which they are using as a makeshift office, in front of that park. But then they were unable to do much in terms of trying to curb people, you know, not to.
Are you sure nothing is changing hands?
So I don't really, but I think it's just about.
Or they are overwhelmed.
It's just about maybe that may be one of the reasons, because they have a refuse dump there where people supposed to actually come, you know, to dump their refuse in that place. But like you rightly said, we need to change our attitude. You know, now that we are in the rainy season, so we need to discuss all those, you know, attitude that we are doing, dumping refuse in the what is it called?
We will even come to the solution, Shola. Let's not run faster. I want us to explore all the parameters and all the perspectives there are to issue of environmental hazard. We started off from the angle of climate change, and we have been able to establish what necessitated climate change. But let's look at when companies, when they want to establish companies, do we do environmental impact assessment to know what impact the operations of that company will have on the vicinity of where they are operating?
Yes, normally there is something like that in Nigeria, but just like you said, oftentimes in Nigeria you find out that some of these things are done in a quasi way because of the fact that before you know it, money might have probably changed.
They just tick the box.
They just tick the box. And a good examples are the filling stations, the petrol stations. Maybe in Abuja, we have some of them located in the right place. But if you go to some other states, some petrol stations are located in the heart of, you know, a street where, you know,
residential apartments.
Where you know,
residential apartments. Even there are people selling inflammable substances like cooking gas inside residential.
We saw what happened last week in was it in Apple, where a girl of 5-year-old.
Yes, some 2 weeks ago, that girl, 9-year-old girl that set Prince Ebeano supermarket ablaze.
Because people were like, so what are they doing? Why would they fix, you know, a fully charged what is it called, gas cylinder to a cooker
inside the supermarket?
So why would they sell what
that kind of inflammable substance inside the supermarket?
So I'm not holding beef for anybody, but I'm just talking about the kind of negligence that we put in place at times that actually
our regulators and operators, because you are not supposed to have filling stations inside the residential apartment. In the event of fire, the entire environment will go up in flames. It's the same thing, cooking gas and all of those inflammable substances. But I don't know. And this is even taking it at the basic level. What about those big cement companies, even oil exploration companies, those manufacturing all manner of stuff?
How safe are the claims?
Exactly. How safe are the environment and the communities that are around them? How safe are, because some of this, I mean, my basic knowledge of science says there are certain fumes that is not good for women. Inhalation. If you inhale it, you are exposing yourself to all manner of cardiovascular sicknesses and diseases, like in an asbestos manufacturing company, or all these places where they manufacture cement and you know, paints. So that, you know, that's where they even have gotten used to wearing of face mask. You have to wear mask the same way that you need to wear helmets when you are on engineering sites where people are doing engineering. But we just neglect it. Just the same way that people will go on boat ride without life jacket. Without life jacket, and if the boat capsize, you start talking of 10 dead, 15 dead, 20 dead. When we could have taken little precautions to make sure that such things do not happen. Now let's come to the issue of deforestation. How does that impact on the elders farmers clashes that we are having now?
Okay, to a very large extent, that has actually affect, you know, the environment, even the economy, you know, even household economy, you know, as well. Because normally when there's something they call overgrazing, when you expose your grassland to too much grazing. So that has a resultant effect.
It's become barren. It's
so
become
the land
infertile.
Infertile. So that is one. Then again, like we said earlier, in terms of people felling trees and not planting them back. Yes, some of people are using this tree as cash crops, you know, to is their means of livelihood, you know, to get money. But then we need to regulate the activities, human activities in some of our forests, because I know for a fact that even in the thick of the night, you know, some people go to the forest, you know, to fell some of these trees just for them
to sawmills before daybreak.
Before daybreak, and there's little or nothing.
But they are supposed to be rangers.
Forest guards and rangers.
Yes, rangers
that are supposed to safeguard our forest. So the question is, what are they doing? Do they live in the night? You know, when others are, you know, might have, you know, when the day activities must have, you know, become so low. So these are the kind of things we need to interrogate. These are the kind of questions we need to ask ourselves. So if government are paying them, you know, to do the work and nobody is doing it, then there is a problem. So we should begin to ask ourselves, so where are they? Where are the rangers? Where are the forest guards? So what are they doing? So to mitigate some of this, to mitigate the impact of these human activities in our forests. So we have not been able to do that. So we need to, and that's why we need to put up aggressive sensitization. That's why we need to engage stakeholders.
But Shola, do you think that these people did not know what they are doing, or it's just the culture of impunity and corruption that makes this thing to continue?
They knew it is culture of impunity, just like you said. It's about, you know, let me help myself in whatever way I can help myself. Of course, money must have, you know, exchanged hands. They look the other side. They must have told them we are coming 10 p.m. or we are coming 12 a.m. in the thick of the night. So you look the other side, or you go to the other side of the forest, so that they can carry out their nefarious activities and get away with it at the end of the day.
Still, I want you to explore this issue of how has this deforestation led to migration of herders down south, grazing on farmlands. See what's happening in Plateau now. We have people on gun men or unknown gunmen who will kill, maim, and destroy the crops of the farmers. The other day, former minister of FCT, Jeremiah Ozeni, was asking the Plateau people to rise and defend themselves. If there is no deforestation, would there have been that level of migration from north to the south to the middle belt?
Yeah, you are very
causing
correct.
all these clashes.
Desertification is a very big problem in the north. We all know it. The oases are drying up. Lake Chad is drying up.
It has shrunk to 1/10 of its original size.
And government is not doing much in that, because normally, I remember there was a plan in 2003, you know, that talks about rehabilitation of oases in the northern part of the country. So, but you find out that they have not been able to implement this to the optimal level, because by now we should be able to have adaptive measures.
They even wanted to refill Lake Chad. There is a policy I've read somewhere that they want to refill Lake Chad with water from one of these Central African countries. They will pipe it down, but we never would.
So we are not doing it. We just have them in papers. Nobody is implementing it. Nobody is monitoring. But I think one thing that is lacking in some of our policies is the element of monitoring and evaluation. We draft policies fine, they sign
no MIE framework.
There's no MIE framework to that effect. I think that is one thing we should consider going forward when we are drafting our policy. We have to put the MIE framework. We need to monitor what? We need to evaluate at the end of the day. Of course, there are periods. So maybe after 4 or 5 years, we need to evaluate what happened. Are we able to achieve our objective or not?
Shola, yesterday I was watching news, and there are quite a number of countries that are experiencing wildfires.
Turkey is one of them.
Turkey, India, Australia, US, in a couple of months, a couple of states in US, so many acres of land, you know, affected by
livelihood, losing
people have died, homes have been. What is responsible for this Wi-Fi? It has now become a global phenomenon.
Yeah, so there are two things to it. One, there are natural causes as a result of this climate change too. So because of heat waves, because the environmental conditions are harsh, the weather conditions are harsh. So, and before you know it, if there's a little thunder, lightning, so some of the forests will catch fire, and before you know it, these are wildfires.
And so this is very not easy to control.
It's not easy to control. So at the end of it, some are as a result of attitudinal negligence.
When people smoke and just drop
some people that are hunting rats. Benue is a very good example. We have that in the
even in southwest.
Even in the southwest.
People go hunting game and then they said the forest ablaze.
And before you know it, it becomes uncontrollable at the end of the day, which is going to affect so many things, affect our land, affect forests, even loss of life, just like you said. So these are some of the things that actually, cause what we are experiencing in terms of outbreak of fire, globally,
It's so amazing. More lives have been lost to wildfires, more damages done than even in history. Many countries are saying this is the worst wildfires they are having, using helicopter, using all manner of stuff to
put out. What they were doing in Turkey yesterday. The community people have to actually come out. Some of them have to pluck, leave tree branches. These are crude methods, but just to save lives. Just to save.
Many communities have actually been evacuated, and that means that their means of livelihood has been destroyed. So let's come back to the issue of flooding. We have talked about wildfires. Now flooding. Even here in Abuja, the local Goma axis is prone to flood. Every year, the meteorological agencies, hydrological agency will make weather prediction. They will tell us where there is likelihood of flooding. They will tell us what we need to do, but none so deaf as those who will not hear. Why are we this stubborn?
Like I said, if you look at the prediction of NIMET, this time around they said we're going to have between 300 mm volume of rainfall to 4,000 volume of rainfall in the north, about 300 mm in the south, down south we have about 4,000, and that's alarming. So ordinarily the stakeholders are supposed to begin to do something about that now. They shouldn't have waited for the time when we have the flood before they begin to do something. So the issue of flooding in Nigeria is perennial. And there are specific locations that are prone to flooding that we know. And up till now, it's quite disheartening that as a government, we are not being able to do anything to that.
And yet we have Ministry of Environment, we have Environmental Protection Board, we have NEMA, we have NIMET, we have Hydrological Agency.
There are so many of them, even at the state level. There are state version of all those. All those federal agencies.
And yet we still experience this flood perennially.
We are unable to do something, and that's why I said maybe we need to declare a state of emergency in our environmental sector. So to have a holistic view of what is actually going on. If we need to review our policy, let's review our policy. If we need to come up with a new plan to that effect, let's do that. Then if we need to regulate the activities of people in terms of, like you said, ordinarily there are some people that actually build their house on the sewage waste.
On water planes.
These are part of contributing factor to what we are. Of course, we're talking about those people that they use the opportunity of the rain to dispose their waste, and their waste. So there are so many factors, but we need to conscientize ourselves as human beings, as Nigerians, so we know what is right and we know what is wrong. I think we should begin to, engage ourselves to do what is needful. By making sure that we refrain from all those irresponsible, behaviors or attitudes that we are finding. And again, at the supply side, which is the government, they know what to do. They shouldn't wait, you know, to evacuate people. If we have experienced a flood in a particular place, the best possible thing to do is to evacuate people completely from that place and relocate them.
And
so
ban them from coming back.
Them from coming back to that place. Oftentimes they said they might not have the resources to do that, but they can face it.
Yes.
They can actually face it. We are not saying that you should do it in 6 months or 1 year, but you can keep them in a camp, you know, start building.
Or provide them alternate land. They can build on it.
Land and build
because some people will say, this is my ancestral land. I cannot leave. Okay, provide me alternative, then I can move.
I can move. Then build, incentivize them in a way, and you know, they move. So we have not been able to do that. Then again, what are the dam managements doing? The likes of Ogumosho River Basin Development Authority.
All the river basin authorities have collapsed. I mean, there are about 10 of them we have across Nigeria, you know, in different parts of the country. But today they are comatose.
So
they are comatose.
There is nothing on
the river basin authority. You know, when you are supposed to even use this water for irrigation,
channel the water to some other sources. You know,
my brother, this is just outward.
So how do you? They are supposed to be dredging before now. They're supposed to have dredged some of the rivers, so for easy passage of the flood. You know, but we are not doing it.
Do you know, Shola, it's like we have not come to terms with the fact that our own existence depends on the ecosystem.
We don't have that.
I don't think we have ever thought of it. The nexus between human beings and their environment.
We don't have
that. You know, if you destroy the environment, you are destroying yourself. You are destroying yourself. Okay, you cut down the tree, you cause desertification. Now we are experiencing extreme heat during the dry season, that people could not sleep peacefully, even with AC on, with fans on,
and with all sorts of diseases, just like you said.
Now all manner of diseases that are known to man are now coming up, including COVID-19. Including COVID-19, people don't see the nexus between the environment, the outbreak of cholera, the outbreak of meningitis, the outbreak of even malaria that we have been rolling back since I was born. We have been rolling back malaria, and malaria have not been rolled. We have not rolled anywhere. And yet it's all about our use of environment. Because if we use the environment right, I'm sure we will have rolled back malaria more. In fact, we have rolled it out of Nigeria by now. Definitely. If we see the synergy between the fact that if you don't keep your environment clean, then the mosquitoes will have a place to breed, and then they will cause you the vector. They will cause you harm.
So we have not been able to do that. Maybe we need to be very aggressive and point blank in our approach. Like you said, maybe we take the approach of tobacco kills. So we just say it, that if you have a dirty environment,
it kills.
It's like you are
touching, the truth. It causes you diarrhea, malaria, cholera, all these. Sort of, what's it called? What do they call this? Is it airborne diseases and even waterborne diseases and all of that.
So, even all these respiratory
challenges that we have.
So maybe we need to. You know,
I don't pity your organization. You have a lot to do.
We have a lot to do.
I'm not sure you are working with the Ministry of Environment.
Yeah,
are you?
We approached them, but unfortunately up till now they've not been able to get back to us. When we flag off our Say No to Open Defecation campaign, we actually, you know, tried to invite them, but they didn't send a representative. But we got a representative from Abuja Environmental Protection Agency.
What about NEMA?
We have not approached NEMA. We didn't approach them. Okay.
You need to approach NEMA too. Yeah.
So, but we were dealing with the Office of the Advisor to the President on SDGs too, because of the fact that climate change, you know,
is involved.
Is involved. So we are looking at how we can actually, you know, help to popularize that and see what we can do in terms of intervention, you know, to that effect. But I believe we need to put up a high level sensitization to people, because just like you said, if they know that, look, if the environment is dirty as a result of your, attitude, then you are liable to die young.
That is even the cause of flooding,
yeah.
is the cause of wildfires,
yeah.
is the cause of all this building collapse.
Yeah, so maybe people will stop cut cornering. That is one aspect
Yes.
of, because if you are not offering bribe, so there is no way,
Because okay, you accuse people of building on water place.
Yeah.
Who gives the approval?
The approval to do that.
Who gives the approval to go and build on water plains?
So who gives the approval to do that?
So let's come back to WASH.
Yeah.
Water, sanitation, and hygiene. We have mentioned indirectly part of that.
Yeah.
But what exactly is the focal points of WASH campaign? I recall that last year, the President Muhammadu Buhari, have actually declared state of emergency on WASH, open defecation especially. Yeah. But run us through, what exactly should we know about WASH?
Okay, so WASH is about, just like you said, is about knowing our role in the ecosystem. So, and it starts from the home, it starts from the family. So, and just like the name depicts, water, sanitation, and good hygiene practices. So what we are saying, with regards to water, is that if we don't pollute our source of water, we are going to have a portable, safe, source of water that will be beneficial to us for household, use, for household consumption. So as a result of that, so as human beings, we need to be very, very, cautious of, what we do, in terms of our activities, so that, we don't pollute our source of water. But again, government has a role, to do in the society to make sure, that they make potable water available, for people, which I believe we need to work towards.
Which unfortunately, sorry to cut in, unfortunately, now many communities are relying on wells and boreholes, and there is a negative impact of digging boreholes all over the place.
Even where we are, or maybe opposite of where we are, sometimes last year.
Yeah, the government stopped quarry activities around there because of tremor. Yeah, because there was a tremor felt from Papehi here, and people were scared that maybe we are about to experience earthquake. And I recall, thank you for bringing that to attention. I recall that government stopped quarrying activities around Papehi, but I'm not sure they've not resumed in full force.
We saw them.
Sorry, I'm just raising that flag.
Some people attributed that to this
indiscriminate digging of boreholes and all of that.
Because at the end of the day, I followed that conversation, and people were like, government really needs.
Yeah, but okay, here we are in the Federal Capital Territory. This place, like several other places in Abuja, does not have pipe-borne water. Yeah. People have to source their own water, whichever way. So it's either they dig borehole, go to stream to fetch, or they dig well.
So that's why I said government actually need, to brace up, to make sure that they provide all those amenities.
And here we are, because in the fight against COVID-19, what are we asked to do? Thorough, regular hand washing. So and what do you use to wash? Will you use acid
or contaminated water to even
wash, and then you think you are safe?
Because you are going to contribute more to health hazard. At the end of the day. So what we are saying is that we need to have a good source of water, for whatever we are using, either household or for industrial use, because once the water is contaminated, it's going to bring a lot of health issues, into our body. So which of course, at the end of the day, we begin to fight with, which, like we said, can shorten our family, can shorten our life, at the end of the day. So we need to take our personal hygiene very, very, important, not only at homes, even in schools. So you can see quite a lot of wash clubs, across, primary school, secondary school, to make sure that, they cultivate this habit of personal hygiene, you know, washing their hands. When you visit toilet, you need to wash your
But
hands.
what is the state of our toilet facilities in public institutions,
that's
in schools, in even ministries, departments, and agencies? If you go to the civil service ministry, and you want to use it, you can't use the toilet. You can't use the toilet. It's broken down. I was
about mentioning that you can't use it, even as big as our what is it called, this federal secretariat is. You cannot use it. I've tried it twice. I have to run back. So
anyway, people are already calling in to participate. Let's take our first caller. Yes. Oh, okay. We missed that call. You can join us on this conversation. The number to call is 0809 987 1989. 0809 987 1989. That's the number on your screen. Please, when you call, tune down the volume of your TV set, or move away from your TV set so that we can hear you clearly. So you can join us on this conversation. The number to call is there on your screen, 009-987-1989. So now you are still walking us through WASH.
Yeah. So if you don't have good toilet facility, or if you don't have water, so there is no way, even if you have the structure in terms of building toilet, and if water is not available, it's as good as you don't have it.
Exactly.
So that is one problem that is converting.
Which is why people do open defecation.
Yeah, which is why people do open defecation.
Hello? Oh, okay. Sorry.
So, which is why people do open defecation. So who are to blame? So we need to blame government for some of these things that we are seeing in our society too. Because if water is available, if
Hello?
you have good.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Tell us your name and where you are calling from. Hello? Okay, we lost that call. Please do call back. Yeah, we are listening.
So oftentimes schools, communities, rely on corporate social responsibility to put some of these, facilities in place. But again, the question we need to ask ourselves is, how do they maintain it?
Maintenance.
Because
Hello?
That becomes a very big problem.
Hello? Good morning. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? You are from where? What's your name, please?
My name is
Abdul. Okay, where are you calling from?
I'm from Sokoto.
You are from Sokoto State. Where in Abuja are you calling from? Okay, you are you're calling from Guaripa. So what's your question?
I'm coming.
Go ahead. I think we lost that call. Hello? Hello, good morning. Good morning. Please move away from your TV set. Hello? 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 Please, when you call, try and move away from your TV set. Otherwise, your voice will echo and we won't be able to hear you. There are several calls coming in. Hello?
Hello.
Good morning. Tell us your name and where you are calling from.
This is Frank calling from Yanya.
Frank from Yayan. Yes. What's your question or comment?
My question is, I'm listening to what people have been analyzing to call this one. So I want to ask, what has government been doing about all this? What measures have they put in place to tackle all these issues? That's my question. Because we know all about something every day, and we're not doing about it. We're not seeing any kind of positive impact. So what have they been doing concerning all these things?
Frank.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Do you know it's not only government that is responsible? that we also have a role to play. I hope you have been listening to us about we as individuals, as families, what we can also do to protect our environment. Do you know that?
I know.
So play your role, and we will tax the government to play its own role. But change begins with you and I.
Oh, okay. For example, the place I live in Ghana, I'm a petty entrepreneur.
Okay.
Now, they always come to us to collect revenue, collect tax. In fact, multiple taxation every year. You come to our road, no good road, no better, no, you don't have better, nothing. Everywhere is just so bad and ridiculous. People always complain. All the money they are collecting from us, what are they doing there?
Okay, I got you. So you are the duty bearers are the government. They need to do more. If they are collecting levies, they should also use it to serve the people.
They will not get us motivated to apply our own listen. You don't just talk to people, then abandon them. Even like that's the thing.
Okay, Frank, your point is well noted. Thank you. Let my guest respond. I hope you got Frank's concern that he lives in Yanya. Is an entrepreneur. Government collects huge revenue every day, every month, every year, but they don't do anything in terms of even providing drainages, in terms of even refuse management. Let me take this call. Other call. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name, where you are calling from.
Okay, my name is Christian Aveshi, calling from Abuja.
Where in Abuja, please?
From Karimu.
Okay, from Karimu. Christian from Karimu. Yes, what's your question or comment? Hello, Christian, are you there? Oh, there. We lost time. Christian, please do call back. That's the number to call on your TV set. We're discussing environment and managing the environment in Nigeria. Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Tell us your name and where you are calling from.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you are calling from.
I'm Mr. Halilu from Pape.
Okay, Halilu from Pape. What's your question or comment?
My comment is on the issue of tax. Government are collecting tax from our people, but roads, drainage, they cannot be able to provide for our people. That is very sad. Please, you people should talk to government. Let's do something tangible for the citizens.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Halilu.
Thank you, sir.
I think people are just asking government, but I know, yes, it's good. It's good.
It's good. Yeah. Like you said, change actually begins with us. Mm-hmm. So we need to play our role, perfectly. Yes, people are paying taxes, which is fine. But again, how much have they engaged, the government at the grassroots?
Hello? Yes, your name, where you are calling from?
My name is Jide.
Your name is? Okay.
So they need to engage government too at that level, at the grassroots.
Even local government are supposed to be in charge of managing refuse dumps and primary centers, primary schools.
Yeah, because some of these things that they are talking about are street roads, which are within the purview of local government.
Hello? Hello? Hello, can we meet you? Your name and where you are calling from, please. Hello? Sorry, maybe you call us back. We can't hear you. Your name is? Hello?
So I think one thing they need to do is to find a means of engaging government as well. So they have paid their tax, fine. So they should be able to hold government accountable as well in their different enclaves. As little as town hall meeting, they can actually call the chairman of the local government, their councillors, even their representative at the state constituency.
Hello, good morning. Sorry, Shola, let me pause it. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Matthew. I'm from Godzilla State. I live in Abuja, Pape.
Okay, you are calling from Pape. Move away from your TV set. It's affecting the quality of your call. Or put off your TV.
They call these people that are collecting money from us. They say that we should pay for all this environmental, all these things. And there's no one to come and carry all the waste bin, and they have been walking around collecting money. But that is not fair now.
Okay, noted. We will call on them to do the needful. If they are taxing you people that you should bring money for refuse collection, then they are duty bound to come and pick those refuse and dispose it properly. Any other thoughts?
They keep on collecting money, and our environment, and we keep on clean dustbin around all these things. Those are the things that cause diseases, virus to us. What can we do about it? It's not the issue of collecting money. They need to collect money.
I understand. We will also join you in calling them to do the needful. Thank you. People are angry that they are paying and they are not getting.
I think another thing they can do is that, so if they are paying and service is not being rendered, I think they should, probably take on the service provider. I'm not saying they should go violent, but what I'm trying to say in essence is that, of course, they must.
Why don't they stop paying? And then when you don't pay, so when they say you should pay, then you will tell them you have not been able to get the required services. So let's take this last call before we wrap up. Hello? Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from? Okay. So let me, because these calls are interfering with thoughts. People are really angry this morning. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you are calling from, and move away from your TV set.
In fact, our office.
Oh, very good. What's the name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Eba Pikin. I'm actually calling you from Amali, Niger State.
You are calling us from
Amali, Niger State.
Amali, Niger State. But your name is what?
Ekwa Pikin.
Ekwa Pikin.
Yes, sir.
Is that an alias, Ekwa Pikin?
Huh?
Is that your alias, or also known as Ekwa Pikin? What's your real name?
Oh, that's my AKA. Anyway, my real name is Mishak.
Your real name is what?
Mishak.
Ishak from Niger State. Ishak. Okay. Now, Ekwa Pikin, you can speak on.
No, talking about environmental.
Yes.
There are places that the residents are responsible to keep clean.
Exactly.
Not especially your domot. Your vicinity around you. Make sure it's clean. For places like road, marketplaces, those places are places where environmental should get involved. In Abuja, where you are, there is this market called neighborhood market. If you go, they normally say electronics here. If you go to that market to buy something, you won't be able to stand here, sir. Smell. I don't know. Yeah, yes. So, like, it's smelling everywhere. So that place has been like that for days, I'm telling you. Now you can go there and confirm. That's where you are, sir. You can send your people to.
I know the neighborhood market you are talking about. And my guest also knows. That is the area where he works.
Okay, very good. Opposite that hospital.
We know where you are referring
that
to.
Place,
that place is smelling die. Environmental needs to do something there. It's either they find way to remove all those stuff inside, or they put some chemical that can kill the smell.
Thank you very much, Ekwa Pikin. That's very well noted. Thank you very much. That's the much we can take. Please don't call us again. We need to wrap up on this segment. Shola, your final words, solutions. We have dissected, we have looked at different parameters of environment, from ozone layer depletion, climate change. We've talked about industrial waste. We've talked about even desertification, issue of flood, issue of how this interface with earth hazard. Your final word. Solutions.
Solution is attitudinal change on the part of the citizen and on the part of government.
Yeah.
So as a citizens, our roles, our responsibility are clearly defined. So, and we need to play them effectively. So part of what we are saying is that don't dispose your refuse on the, in the drainages or gutters. That is very, very important. You don't do that.
So on the part of government, very quickly.
On the part of government, they have to be up and doing. They need to be alive, to their responsibility.
Enforcement of regulations and laws.
Regulations and laws. And again, try as much as possible to provide, facilities where, they need to. So that is very,
definitely, Shola, we have to bring you back at some later date, because issue of environment it concerns everyone. It's cost-causing, and we all live or we die if we don't take care of our environment.
That is the word. We have to be very aggressive and frontal. So there are no two ways to it. So it's either we do the needful or we don't do it and everybody dies.
Okay, we shall not die but live. Thank you very much, Shola Babalola, Olushola Babalola, Executive Director of an Environmental Sustainability NGO. He has illustrated, he has demonstrated a lot of expertise on this issue of environment. And if you don't know, all of us live on the environment. If we don't take care of the environment, we will all perish like fools. That is the final words from my guest. Thank you very much for coming, and please stay tuned.